And welcome back to the third segment of our show this morning. We have been joined on set by Lucinda Castillo. She's the Human Resources and Administrative Manager with Apex Event Services. Good morning. We're also joined by Susie Reyes,
Hello.
the Sales and Marketing Representative for Apex. And if you guys are noticing, they both have on Belize Hurricanes and Defenders t-shirts.
Oh, and sitting next to each other too.
Yes, I was a little further away. They told me I had to come close. I was like, no, don't want to do that. But no, yes. We're here and we're wearing their shirts because we want to talk about our grand opening, which is taking place on April 30th, Monday after, well, next Monday, no, we're at Monday. We've been working 7 days a week, so we've lost track of the days.
Yeah.
But next week, Monday, and the event will be a Hurricanes versus Defenders basketball game with a halftime show. So
a very exciting halftime show.
Featuring all local artists at this point in
Okay.
time. So it's going, we've seen the hype on our page, the messages that have been coming to us, asking when the grand opening is. We wanted to make sure we got people involved, and so tickets will be going on sale this week. We'll be doing pre-sales of the tickets, and it's not expensive. It's $10 general admission, $25 courtside. And this courtside, folks, is not sitting in plastic chairs on the side. These are really nice courtside seats. And
Place is fully AC,
yes,
so you can come comfortably and feel like you can stay comfortable for the rest of the night.
Yeah, yeah.
so it's proving to be an event, and the Hurricanes are very excited. This is their home game, so they are very excited. They've been in there meeting with us and dealing with logistics and all of that stuff. So we expect to see all the Hurricane fans. What is it called? K Nation? They've told us they will bring out K Nation. So I don't know about the Defenders.
We have a couple things
Nation sounds like
happening.
they're coming from Orange.
Right? But I've heard that they are all coming out in full force.
Yeah.
So
It's gonna be exciting, that much I can say. We already had our pre-run.
Yes.
Our pre-run was exciting and it was kids.
Yeah.
Imagine them playing and I felt like we were supposed to be keeping watch, and every time the Noali tree score, I can't even do that. I have to run, but it was very exciting, so imagine.
Yeah.
I was about to ask about that. You guys did what we called like a dry run last week with the various high schools competing. What was that like in terms of being able to run the facility, if not at an optimum, to be able to test more or less how things would work once you have the grand opening next Monday?
it gave us a lot of feedback, both good
Definitely.
and bad. So we know now the things that we can do better, and we know the things that we did pretty well. We didn't bring in, we also had a job fair a little over a week ago, and so we tried out some of those people that will be on the temp roster that day, so it gave us some good points for our training session that will be taking place with them this week. We're going to be ramping it up, of course, for the grand opening.
Yeah.
We were expecting, we were told to expect anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 students. We've had about 2,800 in the facility that day, so we know where we need to ramp up the numbers.
Yeah.
When you come to the Civic Center, the difference will be that you'll pass your tickets to ushers who will show you to your seats. So we'll have ushers. Our bathrooms, there are 8 public bathrooms, 4 female, 4 male, and they will all be manned by bathroom attendants.
Yeah.
So you're not walking into a bathroom that's messy or wet or anything like that. We're going to have internal security. We're going to have the police force will be there for this event, of course. And we'll have ticketing agents at the booths as of Wednesday, so downstairs at the ticketing office, and we'll have the ticket takers inside.
Yeah.
We have parking.
Yeah, there's 140 parking spaces on the exterior, and there are 89 parking spaces underneath for VIPs.
Okay.
So when you buy that courtside, that first row of courtside seats, that one will be $50. You get to park
Yeah.
downstairs.
So talk to us a bit. You said, you had your first run. What were some of the hiccups, perhaps, that you saw that you are attempting to mitigate?
I think, well, first of all, the kids were exuberant.
Believe it or not.
They were kids in true form.
Yeah.
So definitely one of the things was definitely ramping up the staffing when we're expecting that amount of people. Also, the way we do the crowd control for coming in at the doors.
Yes.
they came in a little earlier than was expected, and so we have to make sure that our staff is prepped for that. So we've upped that now. They're going to be there an hour before versus half an hour before. So those were a couple of the things. We had everything else I think that we needed. Our beverages were ready from early on, but children getting sodas and juice, that's a mad rush. I want to see if I'm hoping that the adults can try to
getting
compete.
alcohol.
I was just about to say.
However, we only had the one main bar open for the youth rally. For the upcoming grand opening, there will be several bars around the area.
Okay.
Because then your general tickets has an upper area for you to be able to get your exits and your bathroom. So then those will have their own bars. And then the downstairs area will then have their own bars and their own concessions, own food. So that way it would be more manageable.
And it won't be just alcohol and beverages, it will be food. We do have concession people who have already expressed an interest in having a concession stand inside of the Civic.
Yeah.
They'll be bringing their food. So we will have food available as well.
Now you said that there'd be ushers to take you to your seats. Are you purchasing tickets with assigned seating?
Well, for this event, no. But
Okay.
we're still having, because our ushers have twofold responsibility. They not only show you to your seat, but they're assigned to a section to make sure no one's breaking up our seats, riding the seats, riding on the seats. We want to make sure that the seats are being really well taken care of.
Yeah.
So the seats will be numbered, and once our ticketing system comes in, you'll actually be able to choose the seat that you want. And you'll be able to do that either at the ticketing window or on our online portal. And you'll be able to purchase your tickets with your credit card, download it to your phone. So you may not get a printed ticket when you do it online, but you'll have it on your phone and you scan your phone when you walk in.
Yeah.
Belizeans, for whatever reason, I guess it's a curiosity because we haven't really seen it in effect as yet. But for some reason, we feel as though filling the Civic Center to its capacity is a monumental task. How do we put 4,000 people in there in order for it to be sustainable in terms of this business venture?
Well, it doesn't have to be filled for every event. We are, as I mentioned to you a little earlier, Isani, we are pre-booked through to November of this year so far. And there are various types of events. So we will have events that are open to the public. We will have events that are private events. We have everything from basketball and volleyball items coming up to concerts. We have religious conventions. We have Christian revivals. We have
Sports family day.
Sporting family days for some companies that they're going to use a basketball court to also play basketball, but also run lime and spoon because it's a covered court.
We have a runway show.
We have a runway show coming up.
Slash dance.
We've talked to somebody about a beauty pageant. There are so many things. And then aside from that, we have a smaller conference room for small business meetings, a large conference room that can facilitate even training sessions for companies. We will have very shortly a VIP room set up upstairs. It can be rented for private sessions. If you want to have a small birthday party, a small cocktail party, you'll have a VIP room that has its own bathrooms, that will be glassed in, that will have its own AC, its own bars.
We have someone that visited that had their wedding in there previously, and they're saying they're interested in doing their renewal vows as well in there.
So they got married in the old Civic Center, so they want to renew it in the new Civic Center.
Wow.
Yeah.
They must be sports fans, right?
Well, I think so.
Actually, no, it's the amount of people in the days, you know, like Biltmore and so weren't having those kind of facilities. So for the people to be able to fit. So she's like, and now this would fit even more comfortably.
For sure. If you 4,000 people, what about you? But let me ask you, you know, obviously, one of the concerns would be ensuring that it meets, the facility meets its purpose.
Right.
Which is ensuring there's a continued development of sports and athletes in the country. How do you ensure that will maintain your priority while still being able to facilitate whether it's a dance, a concert, or whatever? In other words, if I'm the Volleyball Association, we need practice sessions, we need places to play games, and I try to go to the Civic and they're being prepped for a concert 3 days later. How do you ensure the priority
We have
is
met
maintained?
already with the Basketball Federation. We are meeting with the Volleyball Association. We already have an event that they're talking to us about for in there. The idea is communication, and if we can meet and have their schedule put forward, we've asked them to prepare a schedule for us, when their practice sessions are, when they're going to need to do other things, and we've asked them to plan ahead, because we have to plan ahead.
Yes.
We have to plan ahead to look at our 6-month projection. So if they, and we've had an open line with them, and we've said to them, here are phone numbers. You want a WhatsApp group? You want this? You want that? Let's do it. And we have to keep that line of communication open. We've been very flexible, and we've said that we will remain very flexible to make sure that we can have the facility available for them as much as possible. But you cannot come to us 2 days before you want to use the facility and say, I need to use the facility. So, and what we've also pledged to do to them is that we will let them know on a month-to-month basis what our bookings are already for that proceeding for the month coming in.
Yeah.
So we'll have an email that's sent out to the organizations at the ending of every month for the coming month.
Schedule.
Okay.
These are what are booked out for us already. Now, if we have something happening the night, and you want to have a practice schedule, a run during the day, we can accommodate that.
Yeah.
And again, it depends on what we have it booked out for. If you're using the large conference room for a training, that doesn't affect the court.
Yes.
Right? If you're using the VIP room for a small cocktail party, it doesn't affect the court. So those are the things that we've asked
And the
them
court
to do.
can do half court and full
Yes,
court. So
yeah.
if we're preparing half of the court for whatever the stage, there's still the other half that can be used.
We
Okay.
have the under 18 team that's heading to Cleveland soon, doing a half court practice with us one evening this week.
Okay.
The both the teams that are playing at the grand opening, we're opening it up for practice sessions for them.
Yeah.
So I think we've been accommodating, and we want to continue to be that way.
Do
What
the
might-
federations pay to do practice at the Civic Center?
As the Deputy Prime Minister said at the signing, there is 1,000 community hours
yeah.
that is being assigned out. We have not yet been advised how much is going to where, but we will have to be advised because we are in charge of tracking those community hours that are used. So, and aside from those 1,000 community hours, Apex Event Services is also donating community hours for them, depending on what they need to use it for. So
Okay.
for practice sessions, no. There
Okay.
won't be a charge for those practice sessions. And our community hours will also be used for community. We've already spoken to one of the basketball teams about doing summer camps for kids in that community, in that area of the city during the summer. And they will provide the people that will help train the kids, and we will provide the place and the snacks and everything else for the children.
Now, from a human resources perspective, what are you looking at in terms of the persons you would want to employ to help to manage the facility? I know it's such a large, huge building. You need the kind of manpower to have groundkeeping and that sort of stuff.
We will have some permanent staff on, landscaping, security, and some maintenance. And then we'll have our administrative staff there within the office, because the complex does house the admin offices as well for Apex. And then the larger staffing amount will come with when we're ramping up for events. So our temp roster includes the ushers, the bathroom attendants, the security, maintenance people, bartenders, waitresses. So that will be the larger core. And what we're trying to do, and when we look at our bookings, what we're trying to do is to make sure that they will be part of our temporary staff, but that we try and provide something for them at least 3 or 4 days out of the week.
So you don't lose them. Yeah.
Right, so we don't lose them. And those that perform really well will have the first opportunity to come in. And the way the temp roster works is, Marlene is on our temp roster, and we have an event coming up. We'll call and say we have an event on this date from this and this time. Some of these people work already. Some of them are stay-at-home moms. If they say they're not available that night, then we have a second person to call on that.
Yeah.
But the roster has been growing steadily, and I mean,
Yes.
we get people coming in there every day for applications. We had catered for 100 people for the job fair. We ended up doing 150 pre-interviews. And
By
we
10
still have
o'clock, all
people
applications were
gone.
out.
And so we still have people coming in every day. And as much as possible, we have them fill out the application forms, and we're meeting with a lot of them this week.
Can I ask another question here?
Sure.
I know this is all about professionalism in terms of the direction that Apex is going with the management of the Civic. Will these persons be readily identifiable?
Yes.
Uniforms,
Yes.
that sort of stuff?
They will wear an Apex shirt. Security will be identified as security. They will have badges identifying them as well as Apex employees during that event, and they'll be seen. The colors are the colors that we're looking at are to make sure that they are seen.
We're actually hoping, I mean, it's all new, so it's all making, but we're hoping to have them color coordinated. So we as well. So when we're walking around doing our,
We know who's an
who's
usher.
the usher, and we can
Yeah.
rather than just looking for the Apex logo, we're gonna
So it's going to be color coded. And yes, easily identifiable. There will be training held in the beginning for the grand opening, and then we'll have training sessions before every event to go over, because every event will be different. Every event will require something a little bit different from them. So we will have training sessions prior to every event.
And talking about being able to outsource events, non-sports events, we know from experience with things like the MCC ground, people are always concerned of what potential damage may happen to the facilities when it's used outside of its specific purpose. You have, I would imagine, some kind of protection mechanism in place.
There's already a covering that comes with the court. So
Okay.
there is a covering that is used, and when the covering is off, it's only for the games. And like Susie said, the court can be a full court, it can be a half court. So if
Okay.
it's a practice session, we take off just half of the covering.
Okay.
When we do concerts, we have our general manager has an item called Visqueen. I had never heard of it, but it goes under the covering to make sure that no liquids fall onto the court.
Okay.
So we've got all of that ready.
Even the sun, you see the sun, like how it's hitting in, it helps protect it throughout the time. Once
So
it's
it
not
doesn't-
in use, we have it.
From
protected.
And we
sun
will
exposure.
have dampeners when we do concerts so that the noise, we don't expect the noise to be very loud with it being contained inside, but we will have dampeners to make sure that we take down that volume as much as possible. So,
And from the flip side, I know one of the greatest concerns you perhaps have is opening it up to the public and potential damage that may
Yes.
take place. This, for some reason, some people are more reckless than others, and accidents may happen as well. What's the plan in place to be able? Are there guidelines to behavior within the Civic itself? In other words, if I get too rowdy and start to potentially look to cause damage, I can be escorted out. And also to be able to finance just the regular maintenance that may take place.
we have the internal guidelines already set up. We're looking to have the signs put up. We have to have them printed and put up. But there are guidelines. It's why we have the ushers. It's why they're responsible for a particular section. They're not going to approach the persons that may be doing what they shouldn't be doing, but they will alert the security. And the in-house security do have the authority to take the person out if that's necessary, take them out of the building.
Believe it
Not
or
take them
not,
out.
actually with the soft opening we had a couple, it's nothing grand, but the way they're using the bathrooms, we had to have the security come in.
The way
and
they're riding the chairs.
we had to get the principals informed of which schools, next time you come, you will be having more security for your area. It's unbelievable, but it happened.
Yeah.
You're dealing with people.
Some people are just destructive.
Right, and that's a part of the reason for the bathroom attendants as well, to make sure that they're not writing on the walls, that they're not marking up stuff, they're not breaking the sinks. So it is a lot of work to make sure that we can maintain it, but we're confident that we can get it done. And we do ask the public, work along with us. We are here to do a job, and we want to see the Civic be a success, not just for ourselves, but for every person that walks through those doors for the next 10, 15, 20, 25 years down the road. But they have to be a part of it. They have to be as proud of that building as we are, and they have to want to see it survive for a long period of
So
time.
let me ask you, I think part of the overall interest or curiosity on the part of the public is the fact that here you have the brand new Civic Center. The primary focus, for whatever reason, seems to be on the basketball court itself, but you have all this available real estate space where perhaps persons would want to establish a concession stand, probably open a boutique to sell stuff like what you're wearing, the
Merchandise,
shirt,
right.
merchandise, and what have you. Has there been an expression of interest by any private entity in terms of being able to either rent or lease the real estate space
Private
available?
entity, not so much, but we have had a lot of interest from people interested in using the concession stand spaces. So we do already have people that are set out to have their spaces. We're going to have, when it's all built out, we're going to have 8 concession stands on the top floor, the 3rd floor, which is where you flow down into and out of the general admission seats. We're going to have 4 bars on that floor. We're going to have 3 concession stands on the main floor and 1 main bar. And we also have a space that we have set out for someone who wants to do merchandising sales. Now the concession stands will be rented on a month-to-month basis. People will have those locked in. They'll only be open for events. So we are not going to be allowing outside food to come in because we want everyone to support those people. These are small individual persons that are doing it, not large companies for the most part. And
the main bar, however, we're hoping
the main bar
very soon, if once fitted and has
right,
everything.
it should be when the main bar is outfitted. It's going to have the draft machines. It's going to have the soda machines. It's going to have all of that. So.
It's going to be open to the public outside of events, right?
The main bar, the plan is for the main bar to be open to the public outside of events on certain days, yes.
Okay.
And we're looking at those days right now, either Wednesday through Sunday or Thursday through Sunday, but we're looking at those days. It is going to be sort of a lounge area, sports bar kind of, and so yes, it will be open.
Security. We need to talk security in Belize City, and I want to tackle it from two angles. One, are there metal detectors? Is it going to be a search protocol in terms of coming in to ensure there are no weapons? And two, crowd control in the event that there's a scare of something that takes place.
We are going to be having the metal detectors, well, not the detectors, but the ones coming in. So when those land, those will be available for this first event. We're going to have a search protocol coming in. We are enlisting the assistance of the police force to help us with crowd control and all of that. We have the internal security as well. There are 8 exit doors.
That's right.
8 exit doors out of that building. So in the case of an emergency, we do have ample space, and we will have a protocol in place for when you're coming out of the building. And they all lead to either the parking lot, the front facing Central American Boulevard, or the side facing St. Jude Street. And the stairs are wide. They are very comfortable. We've run them. We run the steps.
Several times a day.
We run the steps up and down. We recently, when we inherited it, we looked, we did a punch out, and we walked around, and our general manager, Garth Guthrie, is very, he's a stickler for safety, because this is what he does in South Florida. He runs major events in South Florida. And so he's been a stickler for that, and he made sure that we went back to them with a list of what needed to be addressed to make sure it was as safe and secure as possible in the event of an emergency. We don't want anyone tripping down the stairs. We want to make sure they have rails, right, all that kind of stuff. So, and then, so there is, and it will be an ongoing process for us. It will be an ongoing learning process, because there's never been a facility that can hold this many people. So as we go through each event, we'll do a what do you call it? A post-mortem after each event, and see what we need to do or what we need to improve on. Our goal here is just to make sure this works for everybody. We really want to make sure it works for everybody. The admin staff, the senior management team, we're Belizean. I had my daughter playing volleyball, doing volleyball practices in the old Civic Center years ago, and she reminded me when I took her in there the other day. She said, "Mom, you remember when the coach used to have to tell us, be careful, there's a hole there, be careful, there's a hole there." So they'd be doing volleyball practice, and there would be little holes in the floor. We want to make sure that kids coming in to do that never have to worry about those kinds of things. So we're moms. And you know, or even our admin assistant, she has kids in high school. So when we walk around with our contractors, and when we walk around with other people wanting to have, we have all of that in mind. Do I want it to be a safe place for my 17-year-old daughter to go to an event? Yes, I do. Do I want it to be a safe place for my 20-year-old son to go to? Yes, I do. So we look at it from that scope as well, not just from the business management side, but as moms and as Belizeans. So you know, our goal is just to make sure it works for all of us.
And of course, a last plug for the official opening.
For the official opening. Just got our flyer last night, and it will be up on our, please like our Facebook page, guys. It's Belize City Civic Center. We'll put every event we're having that's open to the public on there.
We're gonna start teasing you guys.
Teasing you guys with what needs to be done. So the Apex Event Services Belize Limited presents the grand opening on April 30th. Doors open at 8 o'clock. Game starts at 9. It is the home game for the Hurricanes. So if you guys are Hurricanes fans, you got to come, because...
No, I think we're going to have a little more
the Defenders fans think that they're going to outweigh us, right? So let me just see. There's no school, no work the next day. That's
Yeah.
a big thing because
Yeah.
the next day
May
is the
1st.
Labor Day. So you can come on out and enjoy yourself and not worry about falling asleep in school or work the next
Yeah.
day. The tickets are $10 general admission, but if you're a student and you come to the ticketing window with your student ID, you get your ticket for $7.
Okay.
The VIP, the court side is $25 for the second, third, and fourth row, and the first row is $50.
Okay.
There will be a halftime show featuring a lot of local artists, and there will be a half shot. What do they call it? Half court
half-court
shot
shot.
prize. $750 is what I'm being told. Smartphone and phone card giveaways will be taking place during halftime as well. And I think when you walk up to that building that night, you're going to see something that you're not used to seeing in Belize. And that's all I'm going to say about
And
that part of it.
we're promising to keep you guys protected. Because,
Yes.
you know,
Okay.
that's one of the biggest things.
Yes.
So it does plan to be a really good event.
And the ticket booths open?
The ticket booths, we'll post the times up on our Facebook page shortly, but we're looking at opening them up on Wednesday. Genesis Arts has been really good as our ticket producers. They promised to have it
Yeah.
for us by tomorrow. So it's depending on the time we get it tomorrow, we will. If we can open our ticket booths tomorrow, we'll put up a post and say we're opening them up tomorrow.
All right.
But they will be open in hours that people can go by and buy the tickets. So it will be open past 5 o'clock, and it will be open during lunch.
All right.
All right.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming in and telling
Thank
us
you for
the
having us.
details about the opening game. Remember to find them on Facebook for all the additional details as to when you can get the tickets and the specific time as well. We're going to go ahead now and take our final break, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap-up. So stay tuned.